Food Delivery Horror Story, Episode 1. The Last Delivery. My name is Jake, and for almost 3 years, I worked as a food delivery driver in rural Ohio. Most nights were quiet, a few late orders, empty roads, and the occasional customer who forgot they had even placed an order. Nothing unusual, but one Friday night changed everything. It was just after 11:30 p.m. when my phone buzzed with one final order before the end of my shift. The address was unfamiliar. It was an old farmhouse nearly 20 miles outside the city, surrounded by woods. I almost declined it because the drive wasn't worth the pay. Then I noticed something strange. The customer had left a note. "Please don't knock. Leave the food on the porch. If you hear anyone calling your name, don't answer." I laughed. I figured it was just another customer trying to be funny, so I picked up the order and started driving. As the city lights disappeared behind me, the road became darker. There were no streetlights, no houses, only trees on both sides of the road. My GPS kept saying, "Continue for 6 miles." It felt like I was driving into nowhere. After nearly 30 minutes, I finally saw the house. It was old. The porch light flickered every few seconds. The paint was peeling off the walls, and the windows were completely dark. No lights, no movement, no sign that anyone even lived there. I grabbed the food, walked to the porch, and placed the bag beside the front door. Just as I turned around, I heard someone whisper behind me, "Jake." I froze. The voice was quiet, soft, almost like someone standing inches behind my shoulder. I turned around immediately. No one. The porch was empty. I told myself I was imagining things. Maybe the wind. Maybe I was just tired. Then I remembered the delivery note. "If you hear anyone calling your name, don't answer." A cold feeling ran through my body. I quickly walked back toward my car. Before I reached it, I heard the voice again, this time louder. "Jake, wait." It came from the woods, not from the house. The trees were completely still. No wind, no animals, nothing. Every instinct told me to get in my car and leave. So I did. I locked the doors and started the engine. As I looked into the rearview mirror, someone was standing on the porch. A tall figure, completely motionless. I couldn't see a face, only a dark silhouette. I assumed it was finally the customer coming to collect the food. Relieved, I drove away. About 10 minutes later, my phone rang. It was the delivery app support team. The woman on the phone sounded confused. She asked, "Did you complete the delivery?" I said yes. She paused. Then she quietly replied, "That's impossible." I laughed and asked what she meant. She said, "The customer called us 5 minutes ago. They're asking why their food still hasn't arrived." I looked at my dashboard clock. That couldn't be right. I had already left the food at the house. I even saw someone standing on the porch. The support agent asked me to return if possible. Against my better judgment, I turned the car around. As I drove back toward the farmhouse, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. Police cars, 3 of them. Their lights flashed through the trees. The road was blocked. I rolled down my window and asked an officer what had happened. He looked at the address on my phone. Then his expression changed. He asked, "Who sent you there?" I showed him the delivery order. The officer became silent. Finally, he said something I'll never forget. "Son, nobody has lived in that house for almost 8 years." My heart dropped. I tried to explain that I had just delivered food there, that someone had been standing on the porch. The officer slowly shook his head. He pointed toward the house. "There isn't even a porch anymore." I looked up. My blood turned cold. The front of the house was collapsing. Broken wood, rotting stairs, no porch, No front light, no food bag, nothing. Exactly where I had parked less than 20 minutes earlier. There was only dirt. The officer asked if I was feeling all right. I couldn't answer, because deep inside, I knew exactly what I had seen, and whatever had whispered my name was never the customer. It was waiting for someone to answer, to be continued.
Food Delivery Horror Story, Episode 2, The Recording. I couldn't stop thinking about what the police officer had said. Nobody has lived here for 8 years. Those words echoed in my head the entire drive home. I barely slept that night. The next morning, I convinced myself there had to be a logical explanation. Maybe I had gone to the wrong address. Maybe I was exhausted. Maybe the officer was mistaken. Then I remembered something. My dash cam. I always kept it recording while making deliveries. With shaking hands, I removed the memory card and opened the footage. The drive through the forest looked exactly as I remembered. The empty road, the trees, the old farmhouse. Then the video reached the moment I parked. I watched myself step out of the car with the food bag. Everything seemed normal, but something was wrong. The porch. It wasn't there. The video clearly showed the front of the house was already falling apart. There were broken steps leading to a damaged doorway. No wooden porch, no porch light. Yet somehow, I walked forward as if I could see one. I bent down and gently placed the food on nothing. I stared at the screen in disbelief. It looked like I was placing the bag in midair. Then I heard my own voice from the recording. "Have a good night." I never remembered saying that. A second later, a voice answered. Not from me, not from the camera, a low whisper. "Thank you, Jake." I froze. The dashcam microphone had picked it up perfectly. I replayed the clip 5 times. The same whisper, the same words. I immediately uploaded the audio to an online forum where people analyze strange recordings. Within an hour, dozens of people replied. Some said it was fake. Others said it sounded like someone standing only inches from the microphone. Then one comment caught my attention. It simply read, "Don't go back there." The account disappeared minutes later. That evening, I received another delivery request. My stomach dropped. Same road, same house, same customer name. But this time, the order was for only 1 bottle of water. The delivery note had changed. "You forgot to say goodbye." I instantly declined the order. 30 seconds later, my phone vibrated again. Same address, different account. "We're still waiting." I declined it again, then again, and again. Each time the customer's name changed, but the address never did. After the 7th request, my delivery app suddenly crashed. The screen turned black. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then white letters slowly appeared. "Jake, please come back." I dropped the phone onto my couch. There was no notification sound, no app logo, just those words. When I picked it up again, everything was normal. No messages, no orders, no history. It was as if nothing had happened. That night, I unplugged my phone and tried to sleep. A notification sound woke me up. The screen lit up by itself. One new message. No sender, no number, just 3 words. "Your food arrived." Attached was a photo. It showed the paper delivery bag I had left the previous night. But this time, it wasn't sitting outside the abandoned house. It was sitting on the floor, at the foot of my bed. I looked down. The floor was empty. The bag wasn't there. I looked back at the phone. The photo had disappeared, replaced by a single line of text. "See you tomorrow." I didn't sleep for the rest of the night, because deep down, I knew this wasn't about a delivery anymore. Something had followed me home. To be continued. The call ended. The next morning, I drove to the local police station and told them everything. The officer listened carefully. When I finished, he became strangely quiet. He opened an old file cabinet and placed a faded newspaper on the desk. The headline read, "Delivery driver missing after final order." The article was dated 12 years earlier. Then another, 8 years earlier. Another, 5 years earlier. Every article told the same story. A delivery driver accepted one final order to the same abandoned farmhouse and was never seen again. The officer looked at me and said, You're the first driver who came back alive. I asked him one question. Who keeps placing the orders? He slowly shook his head. No one has ever found out. As I stood to leave, something fell from inside the newspaper. It was an old delivery receipt. The customer name was faded. The address was the farmhouse. The driver's name was Jake. But the receipt was printed 7 years before I had ever worked as a delivery driver. I stood frozen. That was impossible. The officer took the receipt from my hands. When he looked back at me, his face turned pale. He whispered, "You should leave, right now." I asked why. He slowly pointed behind me. I turned toward the station entrance. A tall figure dressed in black was standing outside the glass doors, perfectly still, watching me. No face, no movement, just silence. The lights inside the station suddenly went out. For 2 seconds, everything was completely dark. When the lights returned, the figure was gone. So was the officer, the newspaper, the receipt. I was standing alone inside an empty building. To this day, I still receive one notification every year. Always on the same date, always at 11:30 p.m. It says only 5 words. Your final delivery is waiting. And every single time, I turn off my phone, because some deliveries are never meant to be completed.